Alright, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. I really was not looking to cut this tree back just yet, but it is September 25th, and we've got a hurricane on the way, so it's time for a little bit of hurricane prep. And I'm going to go ahead and cut all these long shoots down and get it a little bit more hurricane ready. I'm going to start right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot for, I can see everywhere in here where I cut it the last time, and I'm just going to try to come up a couple nodes from where it was I cut it the last time. I was really trying to let this thing grow out and just kind of recover a little bit better. But I can't have it getting blown around out there like it was. So it's definitely time to do something. All right, and there we go. Should be a lot more ready for hurricane. This is the tree that I used to have a big chunk of deadwood here from where this was actually a failed air layer. So I'm going to leave this branch on here. I'm trying to make that a sacrifice. I'd like to get the trunk thicker than that knot is. There's a knot there where the chunk of deadwood was. That's pretty much where everything kind of sprouted from. I'd actually taken a couple stumps off this tree. One of them I took as a cutting, which is still alive. But I'm going to leave that sacrifice branch on there. That shouldn't really, it's low enough. The wind really shouldn't affect that all that much. So we'll leave that on. And I'm going to get another one. All right, and then I got this one here. This one's, the work was done a lot more recently. It is a lot more sturdy in the pot. For our normal thunderstorms, I just leave it alone. I mean, it's been getting thunderstormed, on now. And, this one hasn't even blown over yet. But generally when they do in a thunderstorm, the thunderstorm lasts 20 minutes. You just go out there and pick them back up. Maybe have to put some of the substrate back, things like that. Well, with a hurricane, they can last, just hours out there and just, nothing but wind and rain. And they always seem, for where I live, they always seem to hit at night, and you just never really know what's going on out there. I'd feel a lot better if this was just cut down, a little less chance of it, again, just getting whipped around out there. Plus, there's like a prune mark here, and there's like 5 other branches here that are just starting to get their new sprouts, where these were already really big. And I just kind of was looking, and I was thinking, like, what I've been trying to do with a lot of these rain trees that I'm not wiring up, and this one and the other one I just did are 2 that I'm trying to not do much wire with. I've been trying to, like, here's where I cut it the last time, and then what I've been trying to do is come up a couple nodes from that, so I don't wind up with a knot at any, one point, so I'm always pruning at a different point. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go a little bit further than that, and I might even go down to the second prune point before the one I have now. This is basically a 2-year-old cutting, so it's not like, and it's actually, 2 years and 4 months old. So it's not like I can't just cut it back and rebuild if I need to again. And again, if I cut it back even further, that'll give it even better chance of surviving the winds out there. Both of these were freshly repotted the last time I worked them. And like I said, this one was a lot more recent than that one I just did. This one's tied in a little more securely than that one was. See if I can get it. All right, and there we go. This side is still a little bit of a stronger side of the tree, which I was trying to avoid the last time I cut it back. But I think it'll just wind up being that way, kind of with one cloud of foliage, kind of a little bit taller than the other side. But either way, It's a lot more storm ready than it was a few minutes ago. All right, and here I'm gonna go ahead and start this video with the tree I left off on, just to be a little continuous there. I'll go back to that bigger one in a minute. But first, this is my first video after the hurricane, other than a couple shorts I just threw in there. I'm gonna show you a few things here. This is a radar image captured at about 1 o'clock, and then the next one is actually captured about 2 o'clock. That was the last one I got before I lost Wi-Fi, and you can kind of see how slow moving that storm was. Very little difference even there in the hour, other than we were just continuously getting more and more frightened. And then here is just a quick little clip that I wasn't able to put in a short. It's only like 4 seconds long. One of those videos I was picking up in the garage. I actually wasn't at my house here. My house here is kind of older. I don't have shutters for it. I was actually at some family's house that have shutters, a little bit of a newer home too. And then, this is just some of the pictures of the carnage I came home to, kind of plants everywhere. I would have taken more pictures, but I kind of became suddenly really aware of my battery power, in that the storm was a lot more severe than we had ever really thought, except for like maybe the 12 hours leading up to it, which was kind of late to get out of town at that point. Long lines for gas everywhere, and there's no hotels to go to or anything like that. All you could do is drive away from it and like ride it out in your car, and I wasn't ready to do anything like that. I made a pre-video of my acacia tree too, and that actually bloomed a couple days right after the storm. And again, wasn't really able to take a video of it, but now it's got like 40 more blooms, so I'm hoping maybe some of those will kind of come out as nice as those in the picture, and I can make another video then, or finish up that video then. We got burrowing owls here in Florida, and although there was no flooding directly right in my area, I do believe these two got displaced there somehow, so I made a couple little new friends that hung out for a bit. They're gone now. I thought they were going to make a nest in my yard, but they're gone now. Not really sure where they went. And then just overall, most of the plants did really well. The brush cherry is probably not going to make it. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. It was leafing out kind of weakly from the repot. And then the storm defoliated it, and it has not shown any sign of life since. Didn't get really thrown around too much, so I'm not really sure what happened there with just the leaves blowing off. It's hard to tell. And then also the Barbados cherry, the one with the dead wood, that had been kind of a weak tree for a while. And then the storm just beat the rest of it out of there. It's not going to make it either. And then one of my Cheflairs, the one of the terracotta pot, is actually missing. And when I say missing, I found the pot broken, but I never was able to find what happened to the tree. I imagine it just got uprooted out of the pot, and I don't know, it's in one of my neighbor's yards or just off to tree heaven there somewhere. And then the variegated ficus that I have, they looked fine the day after the storm, but then like 3 or 4 days afterwards, all the leaves started looking kind of burnt looking, and they fell off. They've got some growing tips on there. They look active, but I have some doubts as to how well they're going to survive. My big willow leaf is also coming back. I'd say just kind of weakly, so I'm not really sure. And then all the bougainvilleas that I had, they all got defoliated, and they're all just leafing out just really, really slowly. Maybe it's the time of the year. Maybe they just didn't like being defoliated this time of year. I don't really do a lot of defoliating with my bougainvilleas, so I'm not really sure what the problem is there, but hopefully they all make it. Yeah, I actually found this one laying on its side, and the wind had taken almost all the substrate out. It was practically bare rooted in there with just a little bit of, where the roots were kind of clinging to some of the substrate. This one had been, I say recently repotted. I think it was back in August, but that is still fairly recently. But you can see, from where I cut it from the hurricane. I was also going to mention this one didn't really get defoliated, because when I did find it on its side, it was actually covered up by a shingle and a little bit of mud and just, some random leaves here and there. So once I got it cleaned up, it actually looked pretty good. Just added some more substrate to the pot, and you can see it's just kind of back budding normally, like it's just coming back from a hard prune. So this one did fairly well. The big one did too, but a little bit differently, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. And here's the bigger one. I actually found this one. This one was still sitting straight up and is nearly completely defoliated. You guys might be able to see a couple of these older leaves. They're a little bit more green than the lime green of the new ones. But they were all, the few that were left were kind of burnt looking. And it was kind of loose in the pot. I was actually able to just kind of take and chop it back in there and got it a little bit better. But I think actually this one, the reason why it looks so rough at first is because it stood up in the wind the entire time. And so it just took that beating, where the other one kind of got flopped over, wound up with that shingle lying on top of it. And I think the shingle lying on top of it actually protected it a little bit. But now this guy, after being completely defoliated, growing back, I talked about that sacrifice branch that I left on there. This was, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches longer than that. And you should have seen the end actually looked like it was just burnt to a crisp. I cut that off. I thought that the whole branch was going to die, but now you can see the whole thing was getting some nice little lime green new growth. There's some of that older burnt looking leaves closer to the trunk there. But it looks great, rebounding great. I've got some extra pictures of the Cascade one. I'm not ready to do an update on that yet, as that's just kind of recovering too, but that one went on quite a ride. I can't wait to share that one with you guys. But thanks for watching. Hope to be posting more videos soon. Still kind of just doing a bunch of work around the house here and everything, so I don't have much time for them right now.